This time on Rad Rat Video, we're finally gonna watch Los Dos Bandidos. Let's do it. Welcome back to Rad Rat Video, a channel about skateboarding in all different kinds of ways. You find me at my new set. It's the same place I have been, but I thought the bare concrete and futon looked a little bit depressing, so I tried to make it look a little bit nicer. But today, we're going to be watching Los Dos Bandidos. This is the sequel to The Antidote, which is a video I watched on the channel recently. Me and Tony put this out, I think it was 2006, maybe 2007. I'm not sure which, but this one is much better, and it is also our last video. So let's jump into it and watch it.
Okay, I'm on the title screen. Gonna hover over play. Scene selection, bonus. All right, let's go. All right, here we are in the menu of Los Dos Bandidos. This one is a little bit longer than the last video. Not so much the video itself, but a lot of the bonus features. I think the main video is a couple minutes longer, but we got lots of scenes of me beating people up over there on the right. So yeah, I will show you, here's the amount of bonus stuff we have. We're not gonna watch all of it. You'll see why once we get there, but let's go ahead and just jump right into the video. Okay, so again, because of music. Okay, HNL, again, a whole nother level productions from an SNL skit, I believe, that we stole that from. That was my grandpa's sombrero that flew off camera that you didn't see. He was a farmer, and I grew up on his old farm, although we weren't growing anything by the time I was there, but he had lots of weird stuff. I think he actually used that hat to keep the sun off him while he was out. We had a big garden by the time I lived there, but also at this point, I had been learning cool After Effects stuff. So watch real close at that knob. What do you think? Yeah, I did lots and lots of work on this. So in this video, Tony stars in it more than I do. Like, he's on screen more, but I did a lot of this stuff. So like, I put in a lot of time. I was more like, you know, director and editor than on-screen talent, I guess. That's like kind of how our roles came about, but I do think this video turned out pretty well. So yeah, I think I still had some old toy cars that I was able to use for that. It doesn't look great, but you know, all things considered, standard def, you know, tape camera, I think I did a decent job. Yeah, there's my house, and there's my mini ramp in the backyard. Well, my parents' house, I guess, but it was kind of cool. Like, I could see my mini ramp from space, you know, in Google. But yeah, going back to watch this, it's funny because all the ramp stuff is like nothing. Like that back tail revert, I consider that a video part level trick on a, I don't know, 3.5 foot part of the ramp. The freestyle stuff is actually still pretty good and like really hard, but a lot of the you know, street and transition stuff is pretty terrible. I also never got good at skating skate parks, so that park we went to every now and then, but it was really far away and it was expensive, and you had to rent a helmet and like all this other kind of stuff. It was mostly made for rollerbladers, I think, like lots of really big vert stuff, and there'd be kids jumping over it and doing backflips and things like that. But on a skateboard, there wasn't a ton that you could do that easily, so I ended up just like building crap in my backyard like that. Again, there is an inward heel flip and then like a stalefish for some reason. I thought that was gonna look so cool, and then it didn't. But yeah, I used to be able to do, me and Tony could both do inward heel flips fairly easily at the time, but yeah, I don't know what happened. Right there, my shoulder, I like threw it out. My shoulder hurt really bad, so I was trying to put my arm in like a brace position and just hold it there so I wouldn't hurt it, flinging it around in the air. The clip looks kind of weird, but I kind of cool trick. I never see a late heel flip off of a no comply before. Nose hook impossible to crossfoot. It's pretty cool. Here's a church. I've talked about skating here before. That's like right in front of the front door. I do some backside flips. I think that's the only one in the part, but you will see one in the bonus features. I would always land with my toe touching on a backside flip. It wasn't because I wasn't spinning enough. If I spun my body more to catch up, the board would just spin a little bit more than that just to be off again. Like I would always have my toe touch a tiny bit, and I just couldn't help it. I got a little bit better at those over the years. We just found that there. I didn't spray paint that or anything, but I did boost the red quite a bit. Also, at the time, I just straight up didn't care about how clean I landed stuff. Like that half cab heel flip, I could have done that better, but I always felt guilty when it was my turn to be on camera. You know, like if I didn't get something within a few tries, I felt like I was wasting time, you know? So I don't know, like this stuff when I'm filming it on a tripod, I could spend all day on it. But when I'm being filmed, I would always just accept the first land and it was good enough. I was so mad that day when I broke my board. I think that was the first thing I tried that day and it broke. And there's no skate shops around. I didn't live anywhere near a skate shop. So like breaking your board, I can't just go get another one. I'd have to buy one online and wait a week. I used to love that trick. It was a switch, pivot to rock to frontside rock. So I used to really like doing that trick. It felt so cool because you end up like twisted around. This one was kind of cool because we had a ton of people over, so there were a million cars, and I just had that little bit of driveway and managed to do a trick there. No comply varial heel flip used to be one of my favorite tricks. So this little spot, it's all I could skate in the winter. I talked about in the last video how hard it was to find just a tiny little patch of pavement. I found in one of the back barns, because I said I grew up on a farm, I just had a sheet of plywood on the ground, and that was it. You see there's snow on it, but it's like mostly covered. There's a rail Sigma flip. I recently redid that for Tricks and Tribulations, but that was my ender back then. Of course, it was a combo. It was probably a little harder than the version I did recently, but yeah, it was always really, really hard to find stuff to skate. So yeah, this video has a little bit more non-skating, like skit type stuff in it. We went roller skating with, there's a big group of friends, but we were off just filming crap while everyone else was actually trying to skate. I hadn't gone, I think I went once in like 8th grade for school, but yeah, so we just filmed this. I remember my pants were always falling down because I was such a weird size that I could never find pants, which is still true. And Tony's mom was always really upset. Oh, here's a good scene. If you couldn't tell, if it wasn't immediately obvious, that was 100% fake, but my mom was so offended by that, if I remember correctly. But like I said, I was learning how to do After Effects, so it was a lot of fun to just kind of do nonsense. Yeah, so we were trying to just break all the rules on the board. Parent spectators only. He's not a parent. Tony does bleed profusely though. Like he fell, hit a tile wall, which is flat, you know, there's no like sharp things to cut him open, but he still somehow ends up bleeding. He would always find himself just bleeding with no idea why. But all right, what is next? I think we're up to Tony's part, but I know there's a little intro to it. Okay, yeah, so this is me driving from my house to his. See, there's a few miles of dirt before I get to any pavement. Then it's a couple of towns over, so I gotta drive all the way down. This is what the weather is like for all of spring and all of fall. And then winter, it's all snow. And then in summer, it's all hot. But this was a risky thing because that was one clip. But most of the time I'd go to Tony's house, I would have to pound on the door for like 10 minutes because he'd have headphones on or something and never actually hear me. But, oh yeah. So pause the video right now and start playing The Sweetest Thing, the song, because you're really missing out not hearing it. This was all Tony's idea. He just had a shot list. My love, she throws me like a rubber ball. So he's like singing along with it. She won't catch me or break my fall. Yeah, so he just had this like shot list plan where he wanted to do all this stuff with his board. I just really wish he didn't have a board that had a black top ply and then black grip tape on top. But you know, what are you gonna do? Oh, it's so good. This part was on accident too. Where he sneezes after it. So good though. Looking at the clouds together. It's so sweet, so romantic. This part I never understood. So I don't remember if he edited the final version or if I did. But he really wanted to show this whole clip. And I thought, you know, maybe twice was good enough, but he just wanted to keep running the whole clip. Oh, there's 4 because on the last one he goes down backwards. I think maybe, yeah. I think maybe it was because the song had to line up or wanted the song to end in the right part or something like that. But but this whole scene is setting up a scene later that's even better, believe it or not. That was so hard to film with just 2 of us. So obviously, like, it was rolling down that little hill right there because I was filming, so I couldn't push the board and then film from the side. So like the camera cuts and then the grass is on the wrong side, whatever. So now we're at Tony's actual skate park, the double kickflip. There's this nice new bike path. It was so cool for us because we could just walk through the grass from his place and it was like old train tracks, and they turned it into a bike path so we could go skate there. It was just flat, but we could both do little lines there. And I think I filmed one there, but when I watched it back, I was going so embarrassingly slow that I didn't use it. But I did like a Casper flip and then a Impossible or something like that. It might be in one of there's bonus features with just extra footage. I don't think it's all throwaway. I think we switched cameras and then like didn't want to use any of the old footage or something. I don't really remember, but so yeah, Tony could do lots of weird shove it stuff too. Oh, I hope you appreciated that cut where he's mid push, then it cuts to mid push from a very similar angle. Very, very happy with that cut. But yeah, most of our skate sessions were just this. We're just in the street, grinding a curb and trying to hold a manual between cracks. Believe it or not, that's not a real explosion. But yeah, we found a new skate spot that day and it was just covered in rocks. There's my chiropractor again. I don't remember what this line was. Did he reuse this clip? Wasn't this in... I don't remember. Was this in the antidote? I was just always really impressed by this last trick, which was 100% first try. I didn't even know he was going to do that, which is why I stopped. I wasn't even following him anymore. We did a tray flip over that log first try. All I knew, I don't even know if he told me what he was going to do. He was just going to do, sorry, he was just going to do the nose manual and then the wall plan, I think, and then just got that tray over the log first try, which I was so impressed by because I could never do a tray over anything. I could do it on flat, I could do it on a bank, but I could never do it up and over something. So like the fact that he just did one first try, I remember being really impressed by. There's that spot with the exploding rock at it. But just look at some of these places that we skated. Like this was a spot. This was like the best spot we knew of. Like the stairs that are pretty much too short to firecracker. He somehow managed to do it, but or too long, but not short enough to try to ollie because there's no run to actually try to get over it. So that was his ender. I don't think that was his hardest trick, but I think it took it was more cinematic or something. I don't remember what the choice was there, but it was also starting to hail that day. I think we ended up hiding in that the gazebo thing. Oh, here we go. So the first part with the happy face was called the sweetest thing. This is called the sourest thing. And what song is it? You've lost that love and feeling. That's the song that's playing. So good. Again, I really wish the top ply was anything other than black, but it is what it is. So yeah, we're just, watch closely when it shows my Jeep. You'll see right there, little glitches. When it got this cold, my camera just didn't work. So I went outside for like 5 minutes to pick up some clips for this part that he had planned out, just showing off some snow. And the camera right there glitched again. Like the camera just can't handle being this cold. Right there, yeah, you see it freaking out. There was a dam in the back. I don't know if that was it or not, but there used to be like a big dam in the back where beavers like made their own little pond and stuff. But yeah, the skate park, if you watched the Antidote, you saw the skate park was in a tennis court. That's when they moved it to its own lot, but you know, it's covered in snow, and they had like tractor tire marks in it that you couldn't roll over, which was really helpful. So this was just a good way to use some throwaway footage, but also like it's just pretty funny is what it is. I really wish you could hear this song. It's just so sad and somber. Like the sad breakup, you know. I remember my dad being very upset that we showed the skateboard drinking. Like that's an acceptable way to handle emotions, but whatever. It was funny and it worked. That skate park just had like a weird extra outdoor area where they put their old stuff and it would just like rot, but you could skate it for a little while before it deteriorated to nothing. Okay, so are we into... Yeah, I think this is the credits, but the credits is kind of its own thing with cuts to various things. So I'm probably gonna like censor or cut out some of this stuff like right here, because I don't want to track down all of our old friends and see if they're cool with being put on YouTube. So you may lose a little bit here, but that's just kind of how it is. I don't remember why we made that, but we did. Okay. So so this part, I'm not sure how well this will translate depending on how I block it out, but she wanted to film a prank. So she put a hair tie on the sprayer right there, and she wanted to trick somebody into like filling a glass of water and spraying themselves, and she couldn't get anybody to fall for it. So she just did it herself. But her reaction is so bad that they're like, she laughs and then she just like suddenly has this angry face. I know you can't see it, but we just put the whole thing in because that was the only way it was funny. Sorry, I was getting very distracted. But yeah, and then Tony, yeah. So you're only hearing background music. There's no actual audio here, but he's like talking about his routine and how he's got to comb his mustache and make sure he's always looking good. And then someone actually called him. So like he's doing this voice, you know, and then he suddenly cuts. He's just like, hello, in his normal voice. It was pretty good. So that guy married the prank girl, and they're in her bedroom right now with her CRT monitor. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I might just cut out some of this friend stuff because it's not going to mean anything to you, and you're not going to be able to really watch it anyway. I forgot about that. That guy was in our last video too, where he did a handstand real quick. Yeah, I ended up cutting out quite a bit. There was a like a bachelor party shot of like whatever. It was just all friends hanging out type of stuff. But we do have quite a few bonus features after this that we're going to be able to watch. Most of it is skating, which oh yeah, so Tony's brother was really into guns, and he had a World War II rifle, and he wanted to like have us film him shooting stuff. That was the first time I'd ever been around somebody shooting an actual gun, and I had no idea how ridiculously loud it actually was. So this is a fun shot on the building to the right there, at the very top right, you could see a couple windows. Is a police station. I think Tony was trying to impress those girls right there. And so yeah, that little brick building right there is actually a police station, believe it or not. And so we're skating, and this cop comes up, and he lectures us for like 20 minutes. And I wish I had the footage. All I have is this. I don't have the raw footage anymore. He was giving us this lecture on like what age you're responsible for things. So he stops two kids. We're like 17 and 16, or maybe 17 and 18. I don't remember. But he stops us and he's like, you know, at 16 years old, you're allowed to have sex. And when you're 18, you got to worry about going to jail if you break law. Like, this weird lecture. And it was 1,000 degrees. And in his car, it was even hotter somehow. So yeah, that was a really awkward and weird experience. He could have just said, "Hey, don't skate here, please," and we probably would have gone away. But yeah, he wanted to, like, I don't know, make an example out of us. So yeah, I think those clips, we got really into Guitar Hero, like that friend group we showed before. That was my attempt at a mohawk, by the way. That friend group we showed before, we had the whole setup for Rock Band with the guitars and the drums and the mic and all that stuff. And we would get together and play it all the time. But I ended up getting pretty good at Guitar Hero. I could play it on expert. This is a very iconic clip of what my house was like. That's Tony, not the same Tony. That's my other friend named Tony. If I ever mention Tony on the channel, I mean either that Tony or the one I just threw over the table. That was for a project in college. I don't remember what the point was, but we just had all kinds of weird, like a fight scene where I walked into a room and he had a chair on his head, and it was just, I don't know, whatever. I don't have most of that stuff anymore. I just have the clips from the menu on this DVD and that little clip right there. There's me riding off into the sunset with my sombrero. All right, let's look at some bonus features. Oh yeah, let me just show you right here. Like, if you watch my cutout here, there's a scene. Yeah, I beat this guy up too, which was a joke because that guy is huge. If you could see him in person, he, like, you know, lifted weights, and yeah, that guy right there, like, he could kill me. But like in the video, like, I'm his bully and I just beat him up. All right, let's look at the bales. Well, we can watch this menu for a little bit. I don't remember what this event was. It was at a senior center that was rented out for some kind of party. I don't remember why. And then we just wanted to, like, film stuff. Okay. Oh, oh yeah, Tony. Yeah, you tray flipped over a dead squirrel. Pretty good. All right. Oh, fakey coffin. Oh, I forgot about all that stuff. Okay, let's look at the bales video. Yeah, I don't know how he expected to land that. Oh, this one was so big. Look at this thing. I filmed it terribly because you couldn't see the whole gap. And then I don't think I had a fisheye yet, or I did, but it was the cheapest fisheye in the world, so it just distorted everything in, like, a really terrible way. So that camera angle was even worse. But he actually sprained his foot right there and didn't even notice, I don't think, until he started to walk, if I remember right. But oh yeah, see, I was saying I filmed a line on that. I got so frustrated. I'd always pick tricks that I could barely do and then try to do them in a line. I don't know why. Like, I was trying to do the hardest thing possible, so I was just picking tricks that I could barely pull off. It wasn't the smartest thing. Yeah, he has such a hard time with that trick. I learned backside heel flips, but I never filmed one. I just couldn't do them on camera. I could get pretty close, but I don't know why. It just didn't work. My bales are less interesting than his because he's usually, like, flying off of something, but mine hurt quite a few times too. There's some pretty rough ones. Oh yeah, so, like, I lost balance and I'm fighting it, but it doesn't matter. But watch. I know that's not the one. I did break my skid plate though. There's the unexplosion version of that. There's one where I land right on the truck, and it was pretty rough. He may have exaggerated a little bit sometimes. Yeah, so there was my spot where it's just a sheet of plywood on the ground, but the ground was always frozen, so it's like on top of ice. So if I landed a little bit uncentered, it would fling the whole floor out from under me. It was so frustrating. He really wanted this clip where he was like casually drinking coffee mid-line, but it didn't quite work out for him. The tricks weren't even that hard. He could usually do that frontside half cab heel no problem. And then there's this thing we stole that in my part. You saw me do a nose grind on it in front of like a hardware store or something. We just threw that in his truck and took it home. All right, let's see what else we got. Bag of tricks. This is like just footage of us skating that's not like filming for parts. We just kind of left the camera running and had a session. There's a few sessions here, which is fun to just kind of relive, you know, those days. So this is my driveway. There's just a crack where some stuff was growing out. There's me with another inward heel flip. Not a good one, but you've seen so many inward heel flips in the special features. I need to relearn that one. So yeah, just like a crack that some stuff grew out of, and then us trying to skate over it. Me barely having enough speed to do anything, but I'm trying to come up with more interesting tricks. The pop shove tail grab was more of a Tony trick, but I could do it, but he could do it better. You saw a couple in his part, like out of a bank, I think. There's a weird Casper flip. That's like one of the weirdest looking ones that I did. It's weird, like nose divey. It really shouldn't be, but I really like doing bonelesses that way, where I would do the flip and then catch it again. I thought it was so much cooler. And Tony with his hard flips, like he could do them on banks pretty easy. On flat, he either couldn't do it or it was first try. That was it. Like, it wasn't one of his normal tricks. He wouldn't try to do one in a game of skate or anything, but every now and then he would just do one and it would work. It was really weird. I was so annoyed with that because it's such a difficult trick for me. There's one of those backside flips with my toe down. It's such a weird and difficult trick for me. If I put 100% effort, I'll get one that's okay. Still working on that 13 years later. When you see the camera kind of jump, the camera had a digital stabilization thing. So like when it sees you come on screen, it thinks the camera's moving and tries to adjust for it. I would always get so frustrated when I filmed something and then watched it back and the camera's jumping around because I forgot to turn it off. It was helpful for like actual follow cams though. Yeah, here's a spot. At this point, we had decided that this wasn't a filmable spot anymore. You know, we were too good. We had the bank at that church that I skated in my part, which was not really much steeper, but it was just longer. But that spot was more of like a warm-up spot now for us because we were so good. And here's me trespassing and breaking the law. A cab that didn't leave the ground. The ground there was really dusty, so I could actually slide a Primo slide, which was so weird because it was like, yeah, it's like, you know, like drywall dust type of stuff on there, and somehow you could just slide on that instead of screeching to a halt. I couldn't think of a trick to do over a bottle. That was not our bottle, by the way. We found it there. We also have a filmer here. We ran into one of our friends. I don't think we met up on purpose, did we? I don't know. But yeah, we just kind of climbed into this building. I did a nollie flip, trick that I was always just okay at. I don't think I ever like filmed one on purpose, but I would do them in a session every now and then. Again, kind of a exaggerated fall. Slightly illegal, he says. All right, what's next? We got Space Invaders. So this was a cartoon animation that Tony did, but most of it is the alien dancing to music. And since you can't hear it, it's kind of not worth watching, I don't think. This is a Rickroll. Rickroll, get it? Yes, 13 years ago we were doing Rickrolls already. Snowboarding is, I never went snowboarding. It was like our group of friends doing stuff, and that's probably not, I don't have much to say about that. But we have our throwaway / best hits. So let's watch 2005. I did a little preview of this before I started recording, and a lot of this stuff was not in our videos from the time. I don't really remember why, but it's not incredibly long. Might be worth checking out. I remember trying this combo for so long. Like going from toe side rail to Casper is kind of hard, and I was so happy with it. And then you got Tony like filming his foot in the middle, and I was so mad. And that's why I didn't use that clip, but I didn't really lose anything because it wasn't that good. If you're not familiar with living in a snowy region, you can see that the ground is just white there. It's because it's caked in salt. So that would get in your bearings and everything, and it was the worst. It's better than having snow, but like trying to skate through salt crust isn't great either. Oh, this clip was in the last video, my super cool shifty that I did. There we are at that skate park again. I had never skated at a place before where I could slide on stuff. Like the pavement at my house was so rough that you can just kind of turn sideways and do a blunt slide, and it just works. I talked about this spot in my last video. This is the hospital, where it's just this little spot. There's a door, and it turns, right? Yeah, like that's it. That's the whole area, and it drops off into the snow and wet with everything else. So that's the extremes we went to try to find somewhere to skate. That was a good one. Yeah, like I didn't, this is probably one of the bigger reasons I got into freestyle. I always thought it was really interesting to watch, and I loved seeing like the super technical stuff, but also like I had 20 square feet to skate. So that so we skated that like it was a fly out type of thing, but it just wasn't. Oh, okay. So that was one of my back barns. There was a tiny little patch of pavement there, and I never skated back there because you'd had to trudge through so much snow. Like the grass would be knee high, but then in the winter, you know, it's all just caked in snow. Like trying to get back there was really hard, and it was just that tiny little patch. But what that clip was from, so he does a tray flip there, and then you hear a cough. And then you look over, and he's also sitting on the tractor that's over in the next room. But yeah, I guess I just showed the trick part and not the whole thing. It was one of my first attempts at doing like a cool cut. So like I just moved the camera real fast, and as it blurred, then it cuts to the other clip while you're not watching. It's me doing a Casper flip. And I just didn't mind like stopping and going back the other direction. Like as long as I landed it. You know, I landed that nollie big spin. That's good enough. It doesn't have to be like clean or anything, does it? Double kickflip, skating a blank deck right there too. I remember thinking, because Tony used to do all those foot plantings, I used to think that would be pretty easy. And when I tried to film that, it was like, felt like I had to jump as high as I possibly could and barely even made it. So that was our friend's house. You saw in the sourest thing part with the board crying and eating ice cream and stuff. This is that friend's basement. They always had like an open door policy. Like if anybody wanted to just come hang out and go in their basement, you could. The back foot varial kickflip. All right. So that was 2005. Now let's finish it up by watching 2006, which is when the last video came out. But again, I do think a lot of it is like throwaway and alternate attempts and stuff like that, in case you did watch the antidote. So this clip did make it, but it was part of an edit. So that was like the one trick. The impossible for me was like the one trick that I was pretty good at, but it was still relatively interesting. You know, like I could do a kickflip or an impossible. I couldn't do a 360 flip consistently enough to want to do it as part of a scene like that. You know, you want something consistent so you can work on the camera angle and maybe try it a couple of times. Yeah, I remember all those boxes, and we try to stack them up in different ways. Oh, nice. Here was a middle school nearby. There was I think it was a 5 and a 6 set, and Tony heel flipped that. And then there's a bigger set. There's me, a 1 foot shove it. It's trying to be interesting. Oh, there's a 3 set too. That's right. But again, like barely enough room. You get 1 push and then you're just there. He could do stuff on it. It was always heel flips. I don't think I ever did anything on it. I might have like did a no slide kind of like he did, but I might have gone down, like no slide down on it. I did you might see it. I think I do like a tail drop off of the ledge. So I technically did the same height as the 6 set, but I never actually ollied the 6 set myself. I think a 5 was the biggest I ever did back in the day. Fakie big spin under flip. Pretty cool. And this is a rare self-shot clip by Tony, because I filmed all of his stuff because it was my camera, and I would rarely just leave it at his house because I was always trying to film stuff. But every now and then he'd borrow it, and I'd have to like find his clip on the tape and record it and stuff. A pressure flip above the coping. I could never figure out how to pop above the coping. I could do a fakie ollie above the coping a little bit, but he could just kick flip or pressure flip, and it was just fine. I don't know. I just never got used to that. All right, let's see what I got. I'm sure it's going to be rail flip to rail because it always is. Although I still think it looks kind of cool. Oh yeah, this clip, double kick flip to fakie. Pretty sweet. All right, what else? Yeah, so some of this stuff you saw in his video part for the last video. It's just funny to me because we made this with all these bonus features and stuff, and like the Rickroll, you know, as if people were gonna have this DVD. You know, like I didn't try to sell this online or anything. I had my freestyle board at the skate park. I don't remember doing that. I had my YouTube channel at the time, and I had trick tip DVDs that I was trying to sell. And people would send me a $20 bill in the mail, and I would send them like the 2-disc collection of all these trick tips. I never tried to sell this at all, but yeah, but we made it as if people were gonna see it, and they weren't. Yeah, that line, I thought it was really good because on paper it was kind of good, but when I watched it, and I'm kick turning all the time, and I think my toe touched on every single trick, kind of frustrating. Okay, but yeah, lots of fun doing this. There was a third video that never came out. It was called 3 Times the Charm, not 3rd times, but 3 times, and it was us like dressed up like James Bond and other. Oh, watch this. Some extra fake sketchiness on it. I don't know if I was able to rip the audio or not, but there's like, oh, like people freaking out in the background. It's just a little joke clip to end that off. So yeah, that was Los Dos Bandidos, the second, well, technically third and final video. I do wish we had managed to finish the last one, but it was just so much work and nobody cared, you know. Like we showed this to some friends. I think one friend wanted a copy of it. And he had both of our videos, and then we did, and that was it. So it was tough to want to put all this time into it, but I'm glad we did now, because like I can go back and watch it. I can share it with you, but it's cool just for me to be able to go back and relive this. I don't just have lots of clips. I have like a finished thing that we made. But yeah, that's it. Let's cut back.
So that was Los Dos Bandidos. If I can find the original art of it, I'll put it up, but I will tell you what it says on the cover. Tony, his name on the wanted poster is Tony El Stachos Fantastico Clark, which we knew Stachos was not, that doesn't mean mustache. and it has an S, but we're using a singular. Like, we knew that the Spanish didn't make any sense. None of our friends spoke Spanish, so it didn't matter. It just had to sound cool. And mine was El Flipos Magico. Again, same thing. Like, Los Flipos, is Flipos even flip in Spanish? Probably not. We didn't look it up. It didn't matter. It just had to sound cool. So the magical flips, you know, if you speak English, you can look at it and understand what that means. Might not make sense if you speak Spanish, but yeah, that was Los Dos Bandidos, our best work and our final work. We did have one more that we were going to do. There's some leftover footage from that. I think I have a video called The Best of Rad Rat, which is like a all-time best clips in a video part type of thing I did. You can watch that right here. You probably see some footage that would have been intended for our next video that never came out. But yeah, that's it. That's all the videos I got to watch with you, but I hope you had fun. And subscribe for more skateboarding content. There's not going to be any more of this, but I guess you never know. Maybe we'll film something, right? We live 2,000 miles apart, but you never know. But yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.